Welcome back to Factorio 0.17, and it's time to update our furnaces setup. I think we don't want this coal setup anymore. We want to go completely to electrics where possible, so we're just going to get started with our electric furnaces. So the third tier of furnaces, let's just put something down around about here, and we'll consider what we need to do next. Let's just see, do we have space for electrics in between them? Looks like we do. So we can think about having an input lane on the outside maybe, and an output lane on the inside. That would seem to work. And let's do, whoops, that's the wrong kind. We want to put those down. And let's see if that block actually works. We just want a sort of prototype block here more than anything else. And we'll scale it up later because we'll be able to use bots to install it. Or indeed, we can, in fact, no, we will probably use bots once we have enough coverage. Speaking of coverage, do I have any sort of rubber ports up here? I do not. So I only have about one remaining. Do we have anything at all? We can just link it this way, I think. Yeah, let's see if we can get that going. Will that fit between there? Probably not. Let's put it here. One further down, actually. And we'll rearrange them later. They're all right as long as they're connected. Everything will eventually work itself out. And let's put that there. Okay, so we've got a block that should be tileable quite nicely, and then we can just grab something like a blueprint and decide where we want that blueprint. So let's go for there, I want to say. No, let's just take that off for a second. I want to make sure I have, yeah, one more piece of belt, and then that should be sorted. Let's grab all of you guys, and we'll just save this because we can just copy and paste down this way. And however many that we can actually fit in, it's fine. Let's leave it that amount for now, and let me just put that in my backpack. So now we should get a warning on the map. Yep, you see all these warnings like it's saying, I don't know what any of these things are. We've got some bots coming in, but they've only got basically the belt. And they're going to keep going until they run out. And that's fine. They have access. But it does mean that we want to put the other kind of chests, these red chests. I've only got one in my inventory. I want to go and upgrade anything that I output that is, for example, these electric furnaces. So electric furnaces we make in one of the ingredients, I think, for, is it blue science? No, that's engines and solid rocket fuel. And red circuits, which they're out of right now. That's fine. So where am I using furnaces? I'm almost sure I've got them already. 1 second. Yeah, here they are. So they're being produced by these, which is for purple science. I was close enough. And let's just upgrade that to a red provider chest. So the system should know how to make those now. We also want to make sure the system is knowing how to make medium electric poles. We don't have it in our mall yet, or the mall kind of area, but we do just need copper, steel, and iron sticks. So that's all of our bots heading down there for the furnaces, and we need to look for the ingredients we need here. Right, so copper, steel, and iron sticks would be the best place to get that. We've got copper around here, of course, steel and iron. We have them all available. So we can build them wherever we like, as long as it's, well, probably around here seems to be sort of around about right, I think. So we're going to want iron sticks first anyway, and that means I need to put down an assembly machine or two. So let's just put it, I don't know, around about here, and get some lights on the go, because it's going to go dark shortly. We want to go for sticks. Yeah, so that's just going to need iron plate, and then the rest is directly the other ingredients, so we don't have to worry too much. We just want to get iron sticks that way, and we'll bring in, I don't know, maybe half a belt of the others. I want to bring it up here. Do I indeed? Shouldn't matter too much where I bring it anyway, so that's fine. I could just basically direct insert from one to the other like that, and let's put down a light and some power. There we go. And then we can just make sure that we're feeding onto both sides of this. Like that for whatever we actually want. So in this case, we're going to get copper. Oh, whoops, not copper. Definitely not copper. We want iron coming over this way. So iron's going to have a bit of a... Wow. That would be that place where it's really actually hard to place the iron. Let me just get some of this going that sideways, and then we're going to have to reroute this thing a little bit. But not too much. And let's go this way. There we go. So iron can be introduced there. And then this one is going to be our medium electric poles. On the other side, we're going to place a chest. And make sure it's powered. Then from this side, we're just going to be able to drag off any ingredients that we actually need. And this should start producing poles. So what was the other ingredients? One was copper. So we definitely just want copper from here. So let's just grab a couple of splitters. That should do the job. Yep. Well, it'll do the job once I have some belt. I really should ask the system to actually just provide me with some belt. Let's ask for 400. Not sure whether we actually have that in provider chest yet. Yes, we do. But by the time the bots get here, the bots aren't fast enough yet. So, yeah, I'll just go and grab them for now. Right, belt. Where was I? There we go. Let's just put it right there. And then we want steel on this side, and steel is a little bit easier. We need to go on the ground though, so a few more underground belts. And we've got to decide where to bring that across. I'm going to say there. Let's go underground here. And go underground here. And that should be all resolved. There we go. So the only thing you need is steel, and steel should be incoming now. There it goes. And it's going to start producing those. So let's just limit this to, I don't know, 4 stacks. And then these, yeah. The bots will arrive with all the belt I requested. They're just going to, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, cheers. You could have come across faster. Anyway, also the construction bots are coming for the power poles. And and more bots bringing my stuff. So yes, the power poles are going to do quite well. And we should have our furnace set up. Now, is it actually connected to power yet? It is near the top, and the bots will connect the rest. That does mean we just want the usual kind of approach here, and that we want to insert here. I should have actually put this in the blueprint, shouldn't I? That would have been more sensible. But, yeah, that'll do fine. And I'll just finish off the rest. And given that I had access to these now as a blueprint, I did the same thing for copper over here on the right-hand side. And that means another array. And then I've cut off the original arrays, and they should get used up, you know, as and when the output gets used up. And all these are feeding into the input of that buffer that I have, the pass-through buffer, just so that we can deal with any kind of long-term issues. But no, we can remove these once. Well, we can remove them any time. It just means that we have to put the stuff somewhere. If I tell the bots to remove it, they'll have to try and find a plate space to put coal and iron ore, and that would just use up lots of space in our bot network. Now, we could just use these storage chests, and they will use that for storage space. So just if you want to actually do that. We do, however, also want to do the same thing, well, similar things, but for steel. Now, steel is going to require a little bit of a different approach. So we can use the same bookmark as a whole. Yeah, let's just grab that. And then we're just going to modify it once it's down. So let me just make sure it's lined up. We're going to want to change this around a little bit later, but let's just put that bookmark down for now. And then, yeah, the bots are going to start constructing. But I actually just want to get rid of half of it, I think. So I'll get rid of all this side. And then we can get rid of all of you. There we go. Just by holding down right click this, by the way. There we go. Get rid of all that side. And we've got half the actual input. So if the input comes on the right hand side here, it's going to get fed into whatever's here. So if we just grab that same blueprint again, can we actually get this before they start constructing everything? Can we actually get this to feed in? No, I kind of want to take the same thing again. I'm going to need another blueprint. I need to get rid of these blueprints. I need that mod that basically lets you destroy them just by letting go of them by using Q. I need to go and look for that. So let's just grab a blueprint again. And I just want the entire center section of the right hand side to copy across. So let's get all of you like that. And then we're just going to stamp it on top of these. So right there. Okay, so they're going to pass from one furnace into the other furnace and then into what will be belt on the right hand side. Like that. That should be done for the improved steel furnaces. Of course, each furnace takes up extra room, and we may need to actually extend these upwards or downwards or sideways, depending on how we want to scale up. But they'll work perfectly well as they are. We just need to make sure to actually scale them up whenever we need to. And that depends on the output of these. I do remember, however, though, that steel requires a huge amount of stuff relative to iron ore, relative to normal iron furnaces. So this amount of furnaces is probably like 5 times the amount of input needed. And right now I don't have a huge amount of input for steel, so I may have to increase that a little bit more. And now it's going to object because I don't have enough space in my inventory, so I'm just going to dump those in there for now. All the blueprints can go away until I actually can fix them out by getting that mod. Okay, so right, that's all the furnaces upgrade. I don't want to talk about furnaces anymore. Let's go and talk about a little bit about grid-based systems. So good recommendation here, if you haven't seen his channel, Neilhouse does this kind of thing where he has a sort of grid-based setup. So I set this up roughly on screen. This is as far out as the camera zooms, and you get the idea. I've started putting in stone around the outside. Eventually what I'm just going to do is blueprint this whole area, but right now I can't actually do that. I'm just working on this as kind of a setup area. So we've got the area of 4 connected roboports, and then outside of those you have this road with pylons around the outside. Pretty straightforward. You can build larger ones or smaller ones, and if you want more of an indication for lining things up, well, if you press F4 and then show tile grid, yep. So you can see roughly how big that is. Feel free to take a screenshot, etc., and look at it in your own game. But you can always line up using the tile grid if you don't want to line up using the roboports. However, roboports are probably the easiest way of doing it for longer term. Next thing, I want to move fast. So rather than this little character with his little yellow top on and a mining helmet, we're going to take a suit of power armor. Power armor we can already craft, and that gives us extra inventory slots, which I so much better. And we're researching the Mark II version right now. Of course, there's nothing in there at the moment, so we want to actually research all the various different things that we can make, and some of those we probably already have available to us. Advanced circuits, so let's just make 5 of the solar panels. That will give us the ability to charge things up. And we don't yet have, I don't think, the batteries, unless they're not craftable by me. Maybe they're only craftable by my machine. Let's take a look if they're in here. No, does not look like it yet. They'll be down here if that's the case. So we can make the personal roboport, and that'll be very useful. But then, if we have a personal roboport, they need to charge the bot somehow. So yeah, having a battery storage system in our backpack, as it were, now that it's more like a robotics power armor, would be good. So that's going to need some research, however. Personal batteries actually are quite cheap, so I'm going to put that in. I really want the ability to reorder this. That should just be a feature. It should just be a thing. We don't need combat robotics, but there is a personal battery Mark II, and we'll research that as well. Let's just take out this logistics system, and let's just actually pause this one. It'll keep its progress, but we'll come back to the Mark II version once we have the batteries that we actually need. So power, and let's just add that back in that way, and that will do that just fine. So yeah, that's going to research pretty quickly. As you can see, it's speeding across, and let's see if we can actually make some of that when it's done. And there, our research for the power legs, the exoskeleton legs, is now complete, so we can manufacture those. And I've got it now pocket crafting a set, so let's just see. In here, I've got one personal battery Mark II. Right, I skipped over the personal battery Mark 1s. Basically, should have just much more storage for the same kind of space. The exoskeleton legs will actually take up space, and we will be able to start sort of acquiring some power during the daytime. And of course, now we run much faster, at least until the power runs out, and then not so much. But that's something we can fix fairly soon. I do have that already done, so I'm going to queue up a couple, well, one more battery, and maybe more solar panels, and so that we basically have our accrual rate more than our drain rate as far as that's concerned. We want to build up that power, at least until we get the portable fusion plant, and then everything becomes a lot easier. Speaking of which, what is the Mr. Fusion? Well, I say Mr. Fusion. It is pretty much a Mr. Fusion. That's what it looks like. There we go. 200 of each, and this one that we're currently on is 400 of each, so we've already done a fair amount of it. Let's start the research for that shortly thereafter, and then we should end up with enough power to keep ourselves running at full speed for quite a while. I did have to fix the plastic again. Yeah, I did end up with too much light oil, so we got even more of a buffer. We just need to get rid of this, and maybe even look to see if we can get rid of light oil via another method. Is there anything in the research for oil remaining? Light oil, maybe? Light oil? Nope. Oil. Do we have anything else left? I think instead of just going in consistently into solid fuel, even though we're going to need solid fuel for rockets later, I'm just going to go with the usual way of getting rid of it, which is we need to get more chemical plants going. Let's just say we've got one here, and let's just feed everything back into making more petroleum. So we should be able to take that. It doesn't have to be from here, but we have this array here, that should be fine. And then we can light oil crack into petroleum itself. So once we have that going, we can then hook up water. And do we have a water supply around here? I should have it right there. Do we take it from somewhere else? Is that a better place? Well, we have it available here. No, I think we're still going to have to route this water around oddly otherwise. So I'm going to take the water around, and it's coming all the way over here. So we can just bring it around by some means, and I'll get a bank of these chemical plants going, and we'll show you what happens. And here we are, the full bank of chemical plants is now up and running. So we just, well, it's a bit ugly, but I'm not too concerned with that, as long as everything is able to be connected, and it is. So the petroleum gas is right there. It's running on the output. Do we have everything for the inputs on these? And yes, of course, it does look ugly before you start saying anything. And they just need light oil as the input. So we should have light oil in most of these. None in that. Why is there none in that one? Let's have a look. Have I just run out? I doubt it. So that is coming from here, which is going back there. That's why. Yes, I need a connection between these two. Okay, and that's that one, and then this one just needs to be connected up. There we go. So everything's connected to the light oil, so these should all start converting any spare light oil across into, well, into petroleum, which can get converted across into plastic, which should mean that, oh look, our plastic's beginning to back up. Now, of course, it's going to need to back up a lot more than that for my particular tastes. But, yeah, it'd be nice if I could just maybe also just grab a section from there. And, in fact, I need the actual red hand inserters, maybe? No, I need to... That's annoying. I'm just going to go underground with these. And we're just going to grab those two pieces. That. And now I should be able to grab... that. There it goes. So all these should run even when the other side isn't working, and just to make sure that that happens here as well, we're going to do exactly the same thing. There it goes. In fact, we can just neaten that up. There it goes. So it's going to, all four of those are going to run as fast as they can. as and when they need to. And we should probably put another couple in here and do the same thing. I just need to get a little bit more pipe work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. And we will just move the long-handed inserters out one, meaning that I can just put these in just to mirror the other setup. Yeah, and they'll fill this belt whenever they can. Of course, the belt is entirely full now, which should mean that we're going to run, we're going to be running full speed on our red circuit setup, even though that isn't very large still. But still a good improvement now that plastic's back up and running. Speaking of red circuits, we're definitely going to want a lot more of those, so we're just going to basically copy this setup, and that's with the input on the inside, and we'll see how well this goes. So we'll copy it across, and we'll line it up over here, and we'll loop everything back around. We can obviously reverse everything, but I don't actually need to do that, I don't think. No, I'm just going to grab all of the U, and then we're just going to line that up, and it should tile. Yep, so we'll have that built. Some of that should already be available via the bot network, but we'll see what they actually complain about. And that shouldn't take them that long, so let's just get a couple more underground belts going. And it is pretty much red circuits that's also holding back the amount of bots that I'm actually going to need to make. So we are going to need to have all of those made for us. There we go. There's our wire. There's our green circuits and our plastics going through. And we'll see how quickly the bots actually come over to build this. Hopefully they will. Look, there's some construction bots. They're probably getting their stuff. Let's see if they do it. Now, the system still doesn't have any idea what the red inserters are, so we're just going to grab them from here. Just this one machine can split them, and we're going to bring them down here and have them made, I think. Or in fact, no, we're just going to loop them back around this way. That'll do. And then we should be able to grab them from another sort of belt. Do I actually want them to do that? Well, no. Actually, let's just build this a little bit nicer. We have them already here, so that's not going to be a worry. We can just bring this away. And this is the yellow inserters, that is. We'll have them put onto a belt there. And we'll bring this supply across, along with this one. And I think that's everything we need for red inserters. Let's try and let's see if that's okay. So red inserters, iron plate, iron gear wheels, and inserters. And we have all of those. So there's the input ingredients. And now I just need a couple of electric poles. I should tell the system to actually provide me with electric poles. Yeah, I just keep adding more and more things that I actually need. We should be almost to the point, well, that's going to need 40 low density structures. Let's just cancel those for a second and get my power poles up. There we go. And then we'll provide them into a box where the system can actually get at them. And then limit that to around 4 stacks or so. Okay, so our construction bots should be across for those presently, as long as they have road reporting range. They do. Do I have my personal road report ready yet? I think I do, so we got that in here. Okay, and it can be used, there we go, electricity. It can there be used to recharge robots, and robots can dock with me as well as everything else. So if I'm constructing stuff, then there they go now. They're going to go and grab the long-hand inserters. Yeah, so they'll be able to dock with me just fine, and pretty much all the pieces of our bot network is coming together quite nicely. Except, look at that, I'm going to need so many more green circuits. So much more. And we're going to need to scale that up. That's fine to do. That's just because I had all of this going. And you'll see that that's about to get depleted again because of all these red circuits. They're going to start pulling these green circuits off, and then we're going to need even more green circuits. So I'm going to just be able to duplicate them by the usual method, which is just now to grab a blueprint and copy them. And I think what I might well do is copy them to this side or something like that. We have a little bit more room on the inside here that we're not actually using up. And that outside set is actually interfering with this path where I'm going to put this stone path. So yeah, I'm going to have to rework that. But I'll do that between the episodes. I'm not going to do that on the camera. we're just going to need to think about scaling up. So the Personal Fusion Reactor, yes, it needs low density structures. And that's what I just cancelled from pocket crafting. Eventually you'll need to make low density structures for the rocket regardless, but I'm going to put some through my personal rocket crafting because I only need to make one fusion reactor. And FUS, there it is, Personal Portable Fusion Reactor needs 40 more low density structures. So let's wait for that to craft. And I also need a Power Armor Mark II actually. It may not fit in a Power Armor Mark I. Power Mark II. That's going to need low density structures. It's going to need speed modules, so I may not have the ability to do that straight away. So, yep, we'll wait until this crafts, and let's see if that'll actually fit. These old janky versions can go away. We still want that belt down the center, which is the coal belt into our main bus, but you'll see on either side, it's almost fully compressed with the amount that we've actually provided here, and that should do for now. And of course we can just duplicate outwards and indeed inwards once we get rid of these center sections. I'm going to tell it to deconstruct them, hoping that the ones in my inventory are not going to take over, but let's just actually tell it to get rid of these and we'll see what actually happens to all the resources. It's probably going to object, so let's just get rid of all of you and all of you on this side as well. But it is going to cut the power off to them, unfortunately. That's just because of the way they're actually hooked up. And yeah, please don't bring them back to my inventory. Oh, they probably are. Oh, I don't want coal. Go away. Go away. Coal. Fine. So we're just going to make sure that we connect all of this up independently. That will work independently on that side. And on this side, we've already got a connection, I think. Or at least we do now. So, yeah, they should continue to work. Even though I'm going to run away from all of my robots, which have been making stuff in my inventory just fine. I just don't want them here. And I'm going to just put in some storage chests near a rover hall, because they are going to need to put this all somewhere, and that should do the job just fine. So I'm down to 15 low density structures. I could make some factory section to actually do them, but for now it's fine. I only want the one fusion reactor after all. And here we are, our Mr. Fusion. That should give me more than enough power to keep everything going, hopefully. 750 kilowatts, and each of these are 30. So yeah, that should be providing me with enough power to walk around. There isn't enough space to fit in 2 exoskeletons, I don't think, here, because they're 4 tall, and that means that, yeah, they won't fit physically with the portable fusion reactor because it takes up too much space. So you do need that the Power Armor Mark II to do that. Of course, that needs all the different modules. So we'll get to that next episode. But the other thing we're going to get to next episode, because we are running out of power again now, yeah, our power is not too good, is to get towards uranium processing, which we've just, I think I've just, yeah, I have just researched that. And then into nuclear power itself. So nuclear power, we can go for the research. Nuclear. Yeah, so nuclear power, that gets us the steam turbines, the heat pipes, heat exchangers, and the nuclear reactor itself. So we can start the research for that on top. And then we have fuel reprocessing. That makes things a whole bunch more efficient to basically create uranium-238 rather than 235, I think it is. So, yeah, and then there's the CoverX process, but that's incredibly expensive. So, yeah, we may well just queue this one after it. And we'll get to those next episode. So today we've got really a much faster character, got that up and running, replaced all of our furnaces, although they do need some optimization because, yeah, you can see we're not fully compressed on circuits, or indeed, well, just about on copper, maybe a little bit more, and that's just because of the lack of input, which is again just down to mines and available power. So I can keep on creating more steam turbines by all means, and that's easy enough for now, but we want to actually replace that pretty soon, and we either got to go to solar power or to nuclear power. And who wants vast quantities of solar panels everywhere? No, of course we want nuclear material everywhere. Hope you'll join me for that episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course we'll see you next time for some more Factorio 0.17.